Welcome to Reflections, Monday's short-form studio feature ahead of Friday's Photo Walk podcast. Thoughtful observations on creativity and, well, just life really. You'll find all 5 of this week's reflections on our Patreon channel, The Extra Mile. Tricked by the senses. Today's reflection is a little behind its usual release time, and for good reason. I got home last night late doors, as my newishly found Yorkshire friend Keith on the second week of the Photo Walk retreat would say, on account of a long drive south from Inverness to Photo Walk Towers, 537 miles, give or take the odd truck stop, as we long-distance drivers like to call them. I planned to record this piece when I got in, but I was proper clemmed, proper wazzed out, as Keith might say. Please excuse cultural appropriation, etc., past the Hovis. Saturday night before the Sunday morning and the long drive home, sounds like a song, I went to bed early in preparation for the 10 to 11 hour drive with breaks, OVs, and as per usual when rest is required, my mind decided to, write its memoirs or something. "You're not sleeping, lad," it said, sounding like Keith, who's becoming an accessory, it seems, to this piece today. Now, usually my head can hit a pillow and take me into Snoresville as quick as, insert clever metaphor here, but if an alarm is set or a project/journey is waiting the other side of slumber, we're in for a rough journey ahead. 2 hours later, maybe more, I gave in to the system I employ in DEFCON 1 sleepless situations, and turned to YouTube, not for the inane shorts where people are filmed kissing their dog's head with hilarious consequences, but for the 10-hour-long films of sleep aid sounds, my favourite being light rain on a window. That kind of snuggle up and let pitter-patter soothing sounds send you to sleep. And I'm pleased to report, as usual, it worked brilliantly. Why didn't you do it sooner then, you may ask? A very good question. Keith, why did I not do that earlier? Hey, that'll soothe thee right lovely. Instead, they's laid there awake staring at ceiling like they's waiting for milkman. Right you are, Keith. Anyway, sleep I did, and very well too. In fact, the sounds of the YouTube film became my sounds of reality. At some point, it must have folded itself into my dreams, that YouTube film, because I found myself living in a brand new home in a film so vivid in my sleep I was able to write it down come the morning. In my dream I was perched beside a lake. On the very first night, that lake rose with the rainy storm that I'm hearing, inching closer to the front door, threatening to creep inside. And so, yes, I woke at 6 to that same sound of rain, still falling, still steady. And for a moment, I'd completely forgotten I'd left the phone playing these sounds. I just lay there in the semi-dark, listening and thinking, this is nice, isn't it? It took me back to being a boy waking up on Sunday morning to the same soft drumming and knowing that football might be cancelled, which meant a warm day indoors building a Lego X-Wing fighter, snug and happy while the world outside was being drenched. The sound carried me there. Not an image, not a smell, but the sound. Imagine what a proper right wally I felt, Keith, when I realised the sound was on my phone, not the window pane. True tale, that. Sound, I think, leads our senses in ways we rarely credit it for. It paints whole landscapes without colour, without line, without frame. As photographers, we're so used to being led by light, by where it falls, how it shapes. But so often it's actually the sound that pulls us first toward the prize. Think about it. The distant clatter of a skateboard on pavement can bring you swinging round a corner with your camera ready, even before you've seen the rider. The cry of gulls overhead tells you the tide is drawing in, long before the water actually shows itself. Can you see the sea, Keith? In a busy street, it's often the rhythm of footsteps or a burst of laughter that steers your lens before your eyes have locked on to the scene. Sound sharpens attention. Walk through a forest and listen to the wind dancing in the branches and you'll find yourself looking upward. We've talked about this one before. camera drawn to the whimsy of leaves and light. In the city, sound gives you cues, the buskers setting up in a square, the hiss and the tap-tap-tap of the coffee machine, spilling warmth onto a cold morning. Even silence can be a sound. Step into a cathedral or an empty hall, and the hush itself makes you see differently. It works in smaller ways too. A shutter click tells a photographer they've captured something. Our ears confirm what our eyes hope, hopefully, if that makes sense. And who doesn't know the rush of memory when a familiar song comes on? That sound tugging at your heartstrings, summoning pictures from deep storage, sharper than any print. Over the last couple of weeks, with each of the groups on retreat, we've had song request night, as the evening supper was prepared. Each photo walker pulling their favourite from the vaults of Spotify. Some of it's surprised. Much of it has actually been country or country influenced. I wasn't expecting Keith to choose thrash punk retro tea dance with a touch of deep south skifflecore, but there we go. Spotify really turns up to surprise sometimes, much like our Keith. Music alone has had us all reminiscing about childhoods and other stories that we might not have otherwise shared. So, lying there yesterday morning in those moments between waking and being ready for go, 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 I also thought about how it would feel driving home in the rain. Wipers keeping time, tyres swishing along on wet tarmac. Rain, if you'll allow me some poetic woo-woo-ness for a moment, isn't just water falling, it's percussion, rhythm, comfort, sometimes danger. It's one of the most evocative soundtracks we have. So, yeah, photographs are made with light, but most often they're found with the ears. Sound is the gentle guide, the early warning system, the memory trigger. And sometimes, as I've discovered in the dark yesterday morning, sound doesn't just lead you to the picture, it becomes the picture. What do you think, Keith? What are they talking about, late rising up your door, rain on YouTube? That's not dreaming, lad. You just moved to Whitby.